She didn't love me less. She loved him more. I used to think that once love was given, it stayed where you put it, safe, with the person who sparked it in your heart. If a woman truly loved you, I thought, she wouldn't drift away again and again. She wouldn't roam, looking for another heartbeat to align with her own. But love doesn't stay faithful simply because you do. And the truth can be, at times, more hurtful than betrayal. It's not that she loves you less sometimes. It's just that you realize something else is more. I met Elena on an average Tuesday, the sort of day you feel has been done before and hasn't bothered to tell you its name. I was at a tiny cafe near my office, studying some project notes, when she walked in like an unexpected weather shift, warm after weeks of cold. She wasn't the loud one. She did not own the room. It was a hushed sort of confidence, the kind that drew double takes from strangers without any conscious attention on her part. Her eyes were gentle but troubled, as if she looked at the world in a way we didn't. She ordered a latte and glanced over to find a seat. The cafe was full. I would have turned the other cheek, could have kept my nose in my little bubble of spreadsheets and schedules, but there I was looking up at exactly the right time. I gestured to the empty chair at my table. She had a smile, the kind that made you forget every bad day you'd ever had. And you know what that smile did? We talked, without trying, for an hour. She was a graphic designer. She loved rain more than sunshine. She played the violin since the age of 9, and she hated when people said, "I'm fine," when they were clearly not. I told her I was an engineer who couldn't remember birthdays but craved late-night documentaries. She laughed when I confessed that I had cried while watching a movie about abandoned dogs. She wasn't laughing at me. She thought it was sweetly human. It was the first time in years that I had felt seen. Our relationship didn't start with fireworks. It was more like a gradual sunrise, each of us rising slowly at our own pace until one day, the whole sky was lit. I loved the way she was so gentle, how when she disagreed with me she had this quiet voice, and she held my hand like it was an anchor or a question. I thought I was the answer. I thought love was enough. But that's the thing about love. It's not a debt. No one owes you anything, not even forever. The first time I suspected something was off, it wasn't that she leaned away, but that she leaned in too cautiously, as though rationing affection. She still kissed me goodnight, still inquired after my day, still said, "I love you," but something felt borrowed, as though her heart were elsewhere and she was trying to summon it back long enough to avoid an argument. The mind lies, but the body doesn't, people say. Elena's eyes didn't lie. One evening, late in a day I had worked well past the children's bedtimes, I came home to find her on the couch bundled in a blanket. She screened me as though she had elsewhere and only just come back in time to pretend nothing had happened. I said, "Is everything okay?" "I just can't," she said, her voice softer and somewhat apologetic. I wanted to believe her. I really did. A week later, I discovered her phone vibrating on the table. The name on the screen was unfamiliar. It didn't need to be. There are some names that just feel wrong before you even know them. She lunged for the phone, nearly upsetting her tea. Her hands trembled. She attempted to smile, but her lips refused to tease. That's when the truth started whispering itself. But I didn't listen, not yet. I believed I could mend it with love her harder. So I made her favorite dishes, arranged little surprises, held her in my arms at night, kissed her on the forehead in the morning. She appreciated it. She really did. But appreciation isn't love. It's gratitude. And no gratitude can replace passion. And yet sometimes, when we were together, her smile was not quite whole. There was a shadow behind it, as if she were hunting for something she could not name. Perhaps she did not comprehend it herself. So that's what made it hurt less and more at the same time. She wasn't trying to cheat on me. She was sliding away with no idea how to stick around. The night the world collapsed, she got home late. She looked damp from the rain, her clothes ruffled, her gaze far away. I hugged her, but she froze. It wasn't fear. It was a struggle, as if she knew that she no longer belonged in my arms. "Elena," I mumbled. "The hell is happening here?" She gazed on me with tears collecting slowly, like dew on leaves before they drop. She went to speak, but was unable to. I paced, my chest tightening with each second of silence. At last, she whispered, "I never wanted any of this to happen. But the things that hurt the worst don't often come with purpose." She sat down, hands shaking. I sat across from her. The world outside moved on as though nothing were happening, cars driving past, people laughing, rain tapping against windows. But inside our apartment, something was dying, softly, painfully, inexorably. "There's somebody," she said, her voice cracking on the last word.
Not I'm sorry.
Not it was a mistake. Just the simple, cruel truth. I didn't break anything. I didn't yell. I didn't accuse her. Because my heart didn't break with a bang. It just kind of folded in on itself, like paper crumpling softly inside someone's fist. I asked who he was. She told me his name. Daniel. She said it gently, as if she'd practiced saying it without hurting me. But the truth always stings, however gently it is spoken. "He gets parts of me I didn't even know needed getting," she said. "He doesn't replace you. Not that I love you less." I stopped her there. Because that was when I finally realized something most people go a lifetime trying to escape. She didn't love me less. She loved him more. And that difference is everything. Love is not how much that remains. It is how much you grow. There was something within her that reached out towards him, unbidden, without malice, without purpose. And somewhere along the line she stopped feeling that way towards me. Not dying, just unmoving. Love at rest becomes memory. I asked her how long. She said 3 months. 3 months of innocence transitioned to confusion, the source of her confusion to longing, and this emotion she could no longer contain. I wanted to be angry. I tried. I looked in me for rage, tried to find hate and betrayal, anything sharp enough to cut away the ache. But I only plumbed sadness, mine and hers, as it turned out. Because she hated herself for having tripped. She struggled with it, resisted it, refused to give in. But the heart doesn't negotiate. It follows its own moral compass, even when the path leads into darkness. We talked for hours. She wept until it stopped and then could cry no more. I kept listening until it hurt to listen more than the truth. As the sun began to rise, pale and uncertain, she said something that I still carry within me. "You gave me a safe love," she murmured. "But he gives me a loud one. I'm not sure which one I needed more until I held both." Safe love. Loud love. 2 opposite worlds. Neither wrong, neither better, just different. And she followed the one that she couldn't leave. The following week was a blur of box packing, separating belongings, signing papers, avoiding questions from friends who longed for easy answers to a complicated reality. People asked if she cheated. I didn't answer. I wasn't trying to shield her. Rather, I did not wish to distort something so horribly confusing. Often hearts move quietly before actions ever do. She left early on a Thursday morning. I got so far that I was looking on her getting into the cab. She looked back once, just once. Her eyes were filled with things which words could never explain: sorry, love, guilt, confusion, and something else, relief. That hurt the most. Not that she left. Not that she was in love with someone else. But that departure was like taking a breath after holding her breath for a while. After she was gone, the apartment filled with silence like a room after a fire. It all smelled like her, remembered her, missed her. I sat on the edge of my bed and asked myself a question I already knew the answer to. Could I have saved us? And the painful but obvious answer was no. Because I was not the one her heart chose, and love wouldn't change that. But pain doesn't remain sharp indefinitely. It softens. It teaches. It transforms. In the months to come, I came to know things I never knew before. I realized that simply because someone picked someone else doesn't mean you are unworthy. Falling out of love with you doesn't mean that a failure. I realized that occasionally losing someone is the only way to rediscover yourself. I learned that love isn't a game of trying to be better or worse than the other. It's just alignment. And her heart was of his mold, not mine. About 6 months after she left, I saw her in a bookstore one night. She was noticeably different, lighter, brighter, more comfortable in her own skin. We smiled a little, the way you do to someone who used to mean everything but now lives in a quieter corner of your heart. She said she was good. I told her I was too. It wasn't a lie, it was just a new truth I had grown into. Then I asked a question I had not intended to ask. Was he worth it? She hesitated and looked down, then made eye contact again. Yes, she said softly. Not because he's better. But he's the one my heart picked when I wasn't looking. I did so, and came to something of an epiphany. I didn't break. I didn't lose. I just happened to love someone who didn't want me back. And that's what doesn't make the story tragic. It makes it real. When we said goodbye in that bookstore, it didn't hurt. It wasn't dramatic. It was quiet, an ending of the chapter that you finally learned to see not for how it ended, but for what it taught you. She didn't love me less. She loved him more. And that's when I finally realized someone else's love story doesn't retract from your worth. It only reminds you that the one who is right will never have to choose between you and someone else.